Hey everyone, welcome back to Medician, your trusted medical information channel. I'm Dr. Lin, a board-certified allergist and immunologist. In the earlier episodes, I covered what Xolair is, who it's for, and how it targets IgE, the antibody that drives many allergic diseases. I also spent 3 additional episodes working through the basic approval for IgE-mediated food allergy in patients 1 year and older. Today, we're revisiting Xolair with 3 clinical secrets that I want every patient and caregiver to know, especially if you are using Xolair now or planning to stop soon. If you have not watched the basics or the food allergy series, check them out first, link above. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more science-based medical insights. Now, let's dive in. First, did you know that many patients may qualify for more than one Xolair indication? That is not a problem, but it does affect how the allergist immunologist choose the dose. Currently, Xolair is approved for 4 indications. For asthma, chronic rhinosinusitis with nasal polyps, and IgE-mediated food allergy, dosing uses tables based on pre-treatment total IgE level and body weight. Each disease has its own table, and in some cases, pediatric version as well. However, chronic spontaneous urticaria is different. The dose is fixed at 150 or 300 mg every 4 weeks and does not use total IgE level or body weight. Here is a simple example. A 30-year-old who has a pre-treatment total IgE level of 450 and weighs 75 kilograms with severe asthma and chronic urticaria, would dose at 375 mg every 2 weeks for asthma based on the asthma dosing table, while urticaria remains a fixed 150 or 300 mg every 4 weeks. So you may ask, which dose should be used? Some patients might also encounter another problem, exceeding the table limit. For instance, if the pre-treatment IgE level is very high, the patient could fall outside of the dosing table. If you encounter such issues, don't worry. The rule of thumb is to discuss with your allergist immunologist to make sure the dose aligns with your primary indication and provides the most benefit. Don't stress about overlapping indications, which dose you need, and whether you fall outside of the table. Talk with your allergist immunologist, and we will work together to find the best solution. And do not recalculate the dose using IgE during Xolair treatment, because IgE levels rise on therapy. If your weight changes meaningfully, discuss this with your allergist immunologist. Second, many people don't realize this, but Xolair's anaphylaxis risk may vary across different approved indications. In my previous video covering the basics of Xolair, we noted an overall anaphylaxis risk of 0.1 to 0.2%, a very rare but not zero risk. However, here's what you may not know. Based on clinical study and post-marketing data, many anaphylaxis cases were reported in the asthma population. A case control study in asthma showed that among Xolair users, patients with a history of anaphylaxis to foods, medications, or other causes had a higher risk of Xolair-associated anaphylaxis than patients without such a history. Approximately 60 to 70% of cases occurred within the first 3 doses, with additional cases reported sporadically thereafter. The time to onset for anaphylaxis was reported to occur within 2 hours for the majority, about 75% of cases. That is why, particularly for the first few injections, we administered Xolair in a clinical setting and may absorb for up to 2 hours. Now, because the label does not separate risk by indication, allergists and immunologists generally manage safety in a consistent way. Begin in a supervised medical setting, review underlying risk factors, and establish an observation plan before starting treatment. At the same time, we recognize that risk varies by patient and indication, and even the disease treatment plan may influence how we monitor Xolair. Therefore, I recommend discussing with your allergist immunologist which monitoring plan is best for you, how long observation should be, and whether the risk is low enough to transition to at-home administration of Xolair. And finally, let's talk about one of the most frequent questions again. This comes up especially for patients who have been on Xolair for quite some time. One concern patients raise is whether long-term, intermittent, or reduced dose use of Xolair will make it stop working later. Because Xolair is commonly used for asthma, nasal polyps, chronic urticaria, or food allergy, patients are often on it long-term or maybe scheduled to taper. They ask, if Xolair is tapered or discontinued and my disease returns, will it stop working when I start? Another version is, if I go on and off Xolair or stay on it long term, will I develop tolerance to it? Fortunately, based on clinical trial data and clinical practice experience, most patients who discontinue or reduce the dose for a period of time and then restart because of flare recapture their prior level of control. In chronic urticaria, for example, many allergist immunologists gradually reduce the dose or extend intervals. If symptoms remain quiet, they continue the taper. But if the hives return, resuming the previous dose and schedule typically restore disease control. Remember, any spacing or tapering should be individualized based on patient's underlying disease and the response to Xolair. And Xolair is used for prevention rather than treating acute symptoms. Always check with your allergist immunologist about the duration of the therapy, whether a taper is appropriate, and what to do if acute symptoms occur while on Xolair or during a taper. And there you have it, 3 important secrets about Xolair that goes beyond what's on the label. Be aware of overlapping indications, dosing, and table limits, but do not worry. Understand the anaphylaxis risk, what to expect, and how monitoring works. And know that stopping, reducing, or spacing doses and then restarting usually restores disease control. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts or experience in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more evidence-based insights right here on Medician. See you next time.